Good morning. Now we're going to go into our last three regions today in Sub-Saharan Africa. We'll start with Equatorial Africa. Equatorial Africa is right across from East Africa, which we did last time. And last time we did do a differentiation between the two regions. They are very, very different in climate, and they're very, very different in physiology. We said that East Africa has the highlands, the mountains of Ethiopia, it's plateau, whereas Equatorial Africa is basin. And we also said what we find in basins tend to be either desert or rainforest. And in the case of Equatorial Africa, it is dominated by the Great Congo Basin and rainforest and the Great Congo River. And you can see how the river begins in higher lands here and then flows this way towards the sea, as rivers do. And the Congo, therefore, it can tell you another thing about this region. So we can say that it's in comparison with East Africa, even though it is the same latitude, and right on the equator, hence the name Equatorial Africa. East Africa is far cooler, far higher and drier, and as we said, a lot less disease. Disease often borne by mosquitoes, and in hot, sticky climates, everything grows. Here in Guam, we know that, right? Everything grows. You could take a piece of a plumeria, which is a beautiful flowering tree, just take a stick, and you can literally put it into the ground, and it will grow. When things grow, they compete. There's lots of insects. Things are growing and popping and diversity, and lots of things are eating each other and looking for food. So it's a very fertile environment. And there's also a lot of death too, because things turn over extremely quickly. You know, as we know here in Guam, things just change rapidly. If you leave something out, it's going to turn into dirt very quickly. So this is a very fertile, hot, humid, but lots of diseases. Very different from the higher, drier East Africa. Also, another thing about Congo, you can see the dating of this map because this state in the center, which is the huge dominant state, but notice how it has only a tiny little port to the sea, if any, this little teeny tiny area right around Cabinda and Mbanza. It's just a little tiny spot for this big giant rainforest state. And notice its neighbors too, troubling neighbors. Rwanda, Burundi, very poor neighbors to the north. Transitional zone too, to the north. And then you have also a couple very oil-rich states. Angola, which is southern Africa, and also Equatorial Guinea is a part of this region. So not to get too ahead of ourselves, but to define this region, there's a lot of transport issues because of the rainforest. There's a lot of resources, but very hard to transport. So as you can imagine, there's been interests that have come in and tried, but it's been difficult. It's difficult to govern. It's been war-torn and split, especially by neighbors over to its east, Rwanda and Burundi. So to sum it up, hot, sticky, wet rainforest, but also the issues that come with it, such as transportation, also some political issues because of the conflict in neighboring states. Okay, so let's go ahead and just look specifically at the states. So here we have Cameroon, Central African Republic, a piece of Chad, South Sudan, again the dating of the map, South Sudan now is a state and Sudan is to the north, and Congo is called DR Congo, Democratic Republic of Congo, and is the key state. So also note the Congo River, which goes in an arc like this. We have its capital, Kinshasa, which is a port because it's located on the Congo River. And then you have the seaport here. However, you would think that there would be great transportation in DR Congo, and that's not the case. Because the Congo River is a very dangerous river. It's almost impassable. It's unnavigable in so many places. There requires so many portages for those of us that kayak and like to canoe. We know that when you come to an impasse, you have to move everything out and go overland. Well, this is the case here. So it's said that shipping something from one part of Congo to the other, such as a car, something very large, costs more money than shipping it from China. So as you can imagine, the Chinese, Russians, and other foreign interests, Europeans, have been very interested in the Congo and in the Congo's resources, but getting the resources out is another matter. And culturally, there are many different tribes in the Congo, and it has that delineation that was done, you know, at the end of the Berlin Conference, I believe is when it was delineated by Europeans. And so the Congo has a lot of tribes, and they've been in conflict, so there's been terrible civil war there. Very hard to govern for that reason. Politics are very difficult. And the neighboring Rwanda and Burundi, where the conflict between the two tribes there, Hutu and Tutsi tribes in Rwanda, Burundi, just really, this conflict spilled over into the Congo. And as you can imagine, many refugees fled into the Congo. There's also guerrillas, which have sadly become almost extinct. There's not as many guerrillas as there were. And this has been a place that guerrillas have been watched by people that come in, and there's some tourism in watching gorillas, but sadly they also get killed, and killed for some body parts that are used for medicine and eaten also. Very sad. So there's other fantastic diversity of flora and fauna here in the wonderful Congo rainforest. Also, trees get cut down too for development. There's a lot of poverty remaining here, but there's a lot of hope too. Because the Congo is so large, it is dominant for this region. And it now has, Equatorial Guinea is in this region, and it is one of the highest GNI in the whole realm. And now it's one of the fastest growing in the world, the oil money. And so there's very high incomes. But that doesn't extend to all of the people in Equatorial Guinea. As often, you have some people making the money on the oil and so many more that are not benefiting from it in that country. But it does have very high GNI, and that's due to the growth from the oil money. So this is Equatorial Africa. All right, that's it for now. Thank you.